Hello everyone, Finn Evans here. Today I wanted to cover the top 3 horror games in the PlayStation 2 that kind of like everyone is like really into these days, and pretty much you guys know about them. We have Haunting Ground, we have Kuon, we have Rule of Rose. These are kind of like the 3 main horror games that keeps reoccurring in the PlayStation 2 library over the last decade, if not probably the last 15 years. Let's go ahead and take a look at Haunting Ground. This one was released in 2005. Kuon, I believe, was released in 2006. 2004. Oh, my mistake. Wow. That was probably the earliest one. And then Rule of Rose, I believe, was released in 2006. Okay, so we should probably do this. Kuon being first, Haunting Ground, Rule of Rose. So, there's probably a lot of debate on why these are actually very expensive on the PlayStation 2 library. Well, Kuon actually didn't sell very well, Haunting Ground didn't sell very well, and then in some countries, Rule of Rose was actually illegal to be sold during the PlayStation 2 release of the product. Kind of a iconic PlayStation 2 game. I wanted to kind of cover Rule of Rose first. I mean, don't you think that $12.99 sticker is actually kind of sweet? So I got this pretty early on, early on in collecting. Big, bold letters for the spine. And this game, if you like Japanese horror, this game does it probably within the top 3 of any game I've ever played. I mean, if you want an absolute creepy horror game experience with something either following you or chasing you, this is definitely the game for you. Now, everyone probably knows this is probably one of the most expensive games on the PlayStation 2 for the NTSC region. I'm going to go ahead and cover everything on it. An experience like no other. This timeless Japanese horror story creeps into your soul. I mean, it definitely does just that. There's always this monster that's somehow trailing you or watching you from the depths of hell. So, kind of wanted to cover these. I'm not going to go into the actual gameplay, so this video actually isn't going to have any spoilers in it. Minus, just like some briefing on basically the basic story of each one of these games. So, something trailing you. Then you are trapped in, I believe it was an insane asylum. True fear lies deep within your mind. You were lost in an eerie castle and being chased. So maybe you're not in an insane asylum. I kind of felt like I was when I played this. This game definitely gets your heart racing. On top of it, I mean, the repetitive soundtrack kind of draws the horror element out of it, I would kind of assume. Between the 3 of these, I feel like this is probably the worst candidate to kind of showcase. I feel like, a psychopath is chasing you. You have this extreme, ear-shattering music when it's chasing you, and you have the dog. I believe the dog's name was Kiwi, if I recall correctly. I don't even think it's going to say on the cover art, or the reverse. But, you try to basically befriend a dog. Definitely recommend doing that. It would help you out within this campaign. And you're just trying to survive this crazy asylum. Or, I mean, it says Eerie Castle, but I mean, it feels like some kind of insane asylum or hospital. To try to escape, so. And then we have Rule of Rose. This one is probably my favorite of the 3. I kind of really enjoy the story on... It's almost like a kid cult game, where if there's a whole bunch of kids that have basically taken over the city, and, if you're an adult and, you drive to the city or whatnot, you will be killed on sight by these kids. It's a really interesting game. You can't even get games that are made like this anymore and approved by the public. It's a very dark game. Like I said, it's basically a kid cult. Whole bunch of kids, you know, pre-teenage years, you know, 5-year-olds through like probably 13-year-olds run the cult, and if you happen to drive into this town, you will be killed or hunted down. It's a very amazing horror game. I recommend basically all these three. They're actually very enjoyable, story-driven games if you give them the chance. And on top of that, I actually wanted to cover, you know, let's cover, what about Siren? What about any of the Fatal Frame games, right? What about Echoes Night Beyond? I mean, there's, you know, we have all the Silent Hill games. There's so many different games in the PlayStation 2 that are absolutely crazy. This is another great horror game. Can you uncover the mysteries of the Beyond? 2044 Moon Colony, a horrific crash has left you separated from your fiance. Definitely a horror-driven game. If you're into science or space or anything, this is a game for you. This one was actually very challenging for me to find on the library. Siren, unfortunately, the North American or US, I should say North American, didn't receive a Siren 2 like the Japanese market did. This is kind of up there in between like a Haunting Ground and Kwan kind of game. If you like horror, there you guys go. Another really fantastic horror game on the PlayStation 2. And then we have, well, we have the Fatal Frame series. Another great horror series on the PlayStation 2. Unravel a mystery. I guess you kind of walk around with like a camera in hand, taking photos, using that as light to kind of get around the map as monsters are slowly creeping in, trying to find you. And it's even based on a true story, so if that isn't already giving you goosebumps, there you go. Supernatural spirits. Interesting. Then, of course, I wanted to showcase, I kind of already showed Silent Hill Shattered Memories. You know, we have Silent Hill Origins, Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 3, Silent Hill 4, The Room, and then we have Shattered Memories as well. I mean, what an amazing series. We didn't even include basically Silent Hill 1, which was on PS1. I mean, basically, this is a 6-game series, if not more, if I'm forgetting any, like, you know, I'm not familiar with PSP, so there might have been one that I don't recall on PSP or anything, but a 6-game plus series on the PlayStation 2. I mean, or at least 5 games. It's got to be great, right? Shattered Memories is definitely an expensive title on the PS2 library. Kind of wanted to cover it and show everyone. I'm going to be playing Silent Hill. I've actually never had the opportunity yet to start playing any of the Silent Hill games, so I'm going to be doing that in the future. But anyway, I kind of wanted to cover the 3 nostalgic or iconic PlayStation 2 horror games. Kuhan, Haunting Ground, and then Riddle Rose. 2004, 2005, 2006, gems on the library. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys in the next video.